All right, we're joined today with Todd Erzen, the author of the Amazon best-selling book, The Faucian Bargain, the most powerful and dangerous bureaucrat in American history. He's also the co-host of the Steve Deace Show on the Blaze Radio Network. What makes Fauci in particular so dangerous as opposed to those others?
Well, it's nothing unique to him as a person, and this would happen to him or anybody, regardless whether they're progressive or not. It's a total lack of accountability. This guy is the highest paid federal employee in the entire land. He's had this job for more than 30 years. Where is the accountability? There seems to be absolutely none. And if there is no accountability for you or for I or for anybody else, you end up with a guy who says anything he wants to, whenever he wants to. He's clearly addicted to just about any television show he can get onto because he, like a lot of other people in this, listen, this is an 80-year-old man who likes taking selfies of himself. That's where we are. And no one holds him accountable. And this is what happens.
How did we end up in a situation where someone could obtain that level of power and be listened to and receive no pushback whatsoever?
Well, here's where the tough medicine comes. It's your fault. Everybody needs to sit down and wonder that as an American citizen, because the American founding, the blood, sweat, treasure that was sacrificed to make sure that we could live in a land embodied by the Declaration of Independence that led to the founding of a constitution where we, the people, a totally novel concept in all of world history, could be the plumb line. We decided to get fat, dumb, and happy and put this thing on cruise control. And that's not how this thing works. That's not how any of this has ever worked. So we, as Americans, I call it on our show the gated community effect. We like more than anything else to be comfortable. Now, being comfortable is not a sin in any way, shape, or form. But making an idol of being comfortable is very much a sin. And that's what we've done. So we don't want to rock the boat. And we don't want to really stick out in any way. That's not what we're called to do as a people. So this goes way beyond Fauci. This goes way beyond COVID. Actually, this was our destiny. And COVID just happened to be the thing that would grab hold of us to make sure that we were sucked into this destiny sooner rather than later. But it was going to happen because we simply did not want to be bothered in any number of ways. I said on the show a bunch of times before I had ever heard of a COVID, once we started to believe that a man could become a woman, buckle up, people, because some crazy nonsense was about to happen. And sure enough, it did.
Fauci comes out with his platitudes and says, wear masks, we need to worry about lockdowns and about asymptomatic spread, all those things. But then, of course, there's other doctors and researchers who say other things, but those voices get downplayed.
Mostly, we needed the masks as a psychological Band-Aid, not as an actual medical Band-Aid. That part didn't work. But you look and walk around how masks have made people feel about being the rule followers, getting to virtue signal to others that they're better. That's where masks have really worked. And it hasn't been healing, it's been dark magic. There are still all kinds of people in this land who do not understand how many doctors, scientists, etc., who have had a different opinion than Dr. Fauci from the very, very beginning. And the press that has virtue signaled you to the point of yesterday complaining that we don't have enough people taking vaccine selfies of themselves, just tried to get rid of anybody who would not buy into the worst possible storyline of all this, which was never true.
What do you have to say to Christians how they should interpret everything that's going on in the culture with COVID? What should the church's response be?
Well, I'm glad you brought up what's going on in Canada, because that has everything to do with the reasons why COVID was used as a tool of manipulation. Don't let a good crisis go to waste. COVID was used as an opportunity to do to churches what progressivism has wanted to do all along. Ultimately, all of this is about deicide. It's finding the God killer. making all of that stuff go away, the imaginary spaghetti monster in the sky, and finally becoming the place of reason and science they'd imagine. And we're finding out that the people of reason and science aren't so reasony and sciencey. In fact, they're just tyrants who like to mess with people's lives. Like they've long considered how Christians want to get into people's bathrooms and bedrooms. No, not really at all. That's what these people want to do. It's why they're using gender. It's why they're using COVID. And look at that place. You see those pictures of that church up in Canada? It looks like it's in the middle of nowhere. It's surrounded by nothing. You could easily let those people just go on and worship in peace, but they don't want to. So here's what I'm telling you as Christians. I know everybody on some level wants to get back to normal. I do too. I have all the things that I enjoy. But listen, when we get back to normal post-COVID normal, it's not normal. Whatever you think was normal is ultimately it's dead and gone. It's not coming back. And our churches have not been equipped to deal with the reality of who we are fundamentally as creations of God and fallen sinners with feet of clay. We haven't been addressing that. We haven't been real about that for a very, very long time. So when you return to normal, whatever that is and whenever that is, just make sure that you're not moving on to the next shiny thing and actually keeping God and the way that he has been taught by those true believers who were always willing to put something on the line in the name of their faith. Make sure that you're patterning that on some level, because whether it's today or yesterday or tomorrow, there is never a way out of that calling. Our faith is epitomized by that cross. How often have you picked yours up and carried it?
Visit FISM.tv/news for more content.